Let's get started. Huh? Let's pray. Lord, we come to you tonight and just ask you to bless our country. We're in a crisis. None of us really understand what's going on, but we know you do, and we know you're in charge. We ask for your blessings and your grace. Ask you to bless this meeting tonight, be with us, and we'll give all the glory to you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. This is a time for public comment. If anyone would like to come up, we limit those comments to 3 minutes. All right, we'll move into our consent agenda.
Judge, we got a comment.
I'm sorry. You didn't move fast
She's
enough.
not on.
I was making sure this was the right time. My name's Cheyenne Fromme. I work for Urban Engineering. I know several of the members have already seen. I designed the plans for the Goliad County 4-H and FFA Expedition Hall. Last time the plans were before y'all approved them since this is both city and county owned facility, if they didn't have any changes. The plans have been before the city as well. They didn't have any changes. They approved them as is. So, per the instruction, in order to get signatures, they said just come back to the next meeting and come, approach y'all during the public comments for signatures. So,
All right. Thank you.
Didn't we approve that on,
I was absent that meeting, but I understand that you did approve it.
we approved it on the assumption if they approved it, then we had already did the approval?
yes, sir.
Okay.
So you just need our signatures?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll get those before we
Okay.
leave.
Thank you.
Consent agenda, we have 4 pullouts on page 7. Mickey White, $491.05. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Page 27, Commissioner Bruns, $599.73. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Motion carries. Page 28, Goliad Auto Parts, $299.24. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Motion carries. Page 31, Commissioner Edwards, $496.80. Motion to approve, please.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Motion carries. The remainder of the consent agenda. Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Pull that microphone down and turn it on. There you go.
My question is, I was looking through my packet here, and I can't find the minutes. Do we not have minutes?
There are no minutes.
We don't have minutes,
No, sir.
so we can't approve minutes then. We're not going to approve minutes.
We took them off because we haven't received minutes in quite some time, so we took them off.
Okay.
Perhaps we'll start getting them soon.
Okay.
Any other discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda.
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sarah Strauss? Did you want to speak?
I was told that I could talk during the agenda line item, if that's okay, when David Schultz comes up.
You're free to speak about the volunteer fire department right now. We're fixing to move into that. So if you have something to say, step up to the microphone, please.
I would like to address the court regarding the distribution of the county funding for the fire departments. The court should consider the impact the funding has on each of the departments in the county. As treasurer of the Anderweezer Fire Department, I know firsthand that the funds are currently receiving are not enough to pay for our current and upcoming expenses in the areas these funds were originally intended to cover, which are fuel, insurance, and tire costs. I believe there's enough in the budget for these expenses if it is distributed more evenly. Each department has additional expenses in keeping our departments running, but these funds weren't originally intended to fully fund each department, but rather make them more reliable and give them the additional support needed to assist throughout the county. I personally have been doing everything in my power for the last 2 years to reduce our costs for these items, and I have been able to lower our insurance costs by over $2,000 to stretch our county funding for our department further. These costs will be increasing this year with our new expenses required to cover our FEMA tanker that will arrive the first quarter of this year. Additionally, we only have enough insurance to cover our original cost in our trucks, not cover a brand new replacement should one of them get damaged. There is not enough funding for the individual departments to cover the fuel, tires, and insurance expenses without redistribution of the current funding. We understand that the county operates on a tight budget, but we believe redistributing the current budgeted amount can benefit all parties. That being said, I recommend that each commissioner strongly consider the departments for their individual precinct and the impact these departments have on the entire county. We have come up with different ways to redistribute the money, not necessarily to make all the amounts equal, but to treat all the departments consistently, while also taking into consideration that Goliad does respond to the majority of the calls. The funds currently budgeted as a whole are adequate, but the issue is how the funds are being allocated. Currently, Goliad receives 50% or more of the total funds. The solution we came up with is that we believe would be the most beneficial to all departments is that we can split the money 6 ways. We can give each department $14,500, and Goliad would receive 2 portions of that, or $29,000 of the total amount, since they are responding to the majority of the calls, especially since all the fire departments share their assets freely throughout the county and the city. It makes the most sense to try to distribute the money where it can benefit all departments in the county. I would like to see the Commissioners Court make a decision regarding the division of this funding. Dividing these funds should not be done by one individual and should instead be considered by the whole court, as this funding benefits the entire county. A lot has changed since this funding was originally started, and all of the departments are now better equipped to assist each other. If needed, we will happily schedule another meeting outside of Commissioners Court with all the fire chiefs to make a decision together. I'm not trying to place blame on any department or leaders, but the people who are making these decisions need to make them with the entire county in mind and what will best serve the taxpayers' interests, not just preferring any department over the other. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Mr. Schultz. Discuss, take action on division of county contributions to VFWs in Goliad County.
VFDs.
Thank you, Commissioners, for letting me speak tonight. I don't know what else to say. This young lady back here has worked real hard with the fire department out in Anderweezer. And I know her. She knows me. Those staff people out there, they're all over the place. They help tremendously with the fire departments. I'm here tonight to report that we had our other meeting that was rescheduled. We asked Mr. Morales asked us to meet. We did meet with the entire fire chiefs and presidents that were of all the fire departments. They discussed several options on this. Mr. Morales did. The vote was taken before this meeting, and there was no vote at this meeting. So the vote prior to this was to divide the county up in 6 parts, give the Goliad Fire Department, Volunteer Fire Department, 2 parts, and 1 part to all the rest of the fire departments. That comes out to $29,000 for the Goliad Volunteer Fire Department and $14,500 for each of the other fire departments. Now, some of the fire departments are barely above ground. I mean, their expenses are outrunning their income because last year was very bad on them raising money. Some had a little barbecue, and then they had some other sales. They had raffles for rifles and guns and everything. They did really good on those, but I believe they didn't raise it about half of what they need, not even half. The operating expenses overall run in the neighborhood of $25,000 a year, give or take, on departments divided up. So that's a recommendation from the group that I was challenged to take and let them meet. So our recommendations from the group is divide the county in 6 parts, give equal parts give Goliad 2 parts, and the rest go to the individual fire departments. Any questions, sir?
Mr. Edwards?
You know,
Get close.
I'm a little concerned about taking money from any department. I think I would rather, if it has to come to it, we would add some money to the kitty to keep from having to cut any fire department with any money. If it's a need, I'm not sure, you know, we're taking money from one and giving to the rest. I understand the reasoning, but maybe it would be better if we just put a little more money in the pot and help them all out. One thing I'd like to consider is, what if we put all y'all's insurance under the county's umbrella?
Can't do that, sir.
You can't do that.
Not the county fire department, because they're 501c3s. That's why this insurance payment came up before. You cannot pay their insurance. You can donate money to them or budget money to them for their own expenses, but you can't pay their insurance. That's verified. We checked.
Would I don't know what your fuel costs are. If the county assumed the fuel costs, would that help?
Well, the fuel cost ranges from different numbers depending on the number of vehicles that go out. On the average, it's about $1,000 a year, give or take some, for fuel cost. Insurance runs anywhere from a small amount by insuring your trucks only for liability, like the Anderweezer does, to the Schrader. We insure our trucks totally and have our drivers certified that drive the trucks, and that's approximately $12,000, a little more this year, just for the insurance.
That's per
no main-
department or just one department?
That's Schrader Fire Department. Can you tell me how much y'all spend on the insurance? So that's $10,300 for Anderweezer. Fannin? Insurance? About $7,500, but you don't have full coverage on. Okay, that means if they have a wreck, their tanker's gone. Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Some of the pumper at Schrader is getting very old. In fact, I think it's in the 80s also. So the insurance runs a pretty good amount of money just for the fire department. Like I said before, if tanker number 2 for Schrader breaks down, throws a transmission, it'll be $50,000 right out of your pocket just to fix the transmission. We got a pump right now that we're negotiating with Anderweezer, Schrader is, to get a pump from them they're not using because our brush number 1 at Schrader is out of service because the pump that pumps the water out to fight the fire is shot. Now, I think we got bids of $25,000 on that, but if we can get this one from Anderweezer, if it works, that'll save us. These guys, they share between themselves They work real hard to maintain their equipment. Sometimes it's real hard just to raise the money. I think Schrader raised $7,000 plus this year on their gun raffle. That's all they've had last year. So $7,000 under the kitty, not gonna cover much.
That's all I have.
Now, I'm not the one, I don't vote on this, remember that. They voted on it, the fire chiefs and the presidents of the county fire department.
Commissioner Morales?
Yes, I would like to add some few comments, if I may, Judge.
Yes, sir.
As everybody knows out in the crowd, and you folks know, that we need our fire service. It's one of the essential services that we have here in this county to protect our citizens and protect our property and save lives. And those services have to be funded, as we all know. That's one of the ones that has to be funded. Like, I kind of tend to agree with Commissioner Edwards, taking away from somebody. If we need more money, like I've told y'all before, we need to add some more into the budget. I've got a possible solution here, if y'all want to indulge me for that for a minute, possibly, where it won't cost us as much money, we the county, and they'll get more money as well. The thing is, if we the city, our portion last year was $45,000. We'll go back, give up $5,000, go back to $40,000, and then that would, if the court so desires to make a budget amendment of $5,000 to that fire contributions budget, that'd be $10,000 that they could share among them four, and that would give them $13,000 per department, which is $3,000 more than what they're receiving currently for this year. And if they need more money in the next year, we can come at budget time. As we all know, like I told those folks out there at the meeting, the budget's already been adopted. So we have to make a budget amendment if we're going to make more money or add more money to that line item. We cover, 90% of our calls in Goliad are out in the county. 90% or better are out in the county, all our calls. We have very few in the city limits. We have 8 trucks, I think we have, that and that portion of our money, that $40,000, goes into maintenance and operations for us, helps pay for fuel, insurance, tires, like you mentioned there, and repairs, same as all of y'all out there. This is not extra money. We're not just asking for money just to have extra money. That's actually what it cost us, like I told Jimmy the other day, to make those runs out in the county. That's just something, if the court so desires to make a budget amendment of that amount, and if everybody's good with it, we can fly with that.
Commissioner Brumby, you have a comment?
I think all the fire departments, I believe all the fire departments do a wonderful job. I do realize that Goliad probably does go more times, but I think the other fire departments deserve probably a better share of the money. But I think all of them have issues, and because of the 2020 situation we had, things were difficult to raise more money for the outlying ones. So I'm still thinking about this.
Commissioner Bruns?
Okay, you said we could throw a little money, more money in the kitty. Where would that come out of? Is that
We'd leave that up to the auditor, figure that one out.
Is that a possibility to get that out of the uncommitted?
Yes, sir. Could possibly come out of contingent uncommitted.
That's what I think.
I'm asking, okay, Russ. Okay.
I guess my only comment is I would need to know how the outlying fire departments feel about this. It would be an increase in their income, and according to Commissioner Morales, he's taking a $5,000 cut. Is that
That's correct. Yes, sir.
I thought you were at 40, the city.
We got 45 last year.
45?
Yes.
I thought it was always 40. Okay.
I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it until I know how the outlying fire departments feel. So how many outlying fire departments are represented?
Everybody's here tonight.
Okay,
Is that-
so if you would like to, the chiefs, if, give me a thumbs up or no way. If you would come up here, I'd hate to impose on you, but
Come on.
Now, a thumbs up on what?
on whether or not the proposal that Commissioner Morales suits them, because when we last met, we decided that we would let the fire departments
Right.
decide what they wanted to do,
Exactly, yeah.
and we would act accordingly. So, sir, please.
Well, I believe that's a pretty fair share there, especially for this start, and maybe next year put some extra into the budget and see how the year goes. I don't anticipate we're going to have a fundraiser in April, but it'll probably just be a drive-through with no auction, so it's going to be a very minimal increase, for us making any money. But we do like to stay in touch with our community by doing that, because they do patronize us and they buy plates and bid on our items and donate money to it.
So you're good with that proposal?
I think it's pretty fair.
And you represent Fannin?
Bannon.
All right, thank you. Weisach?
I'm kind of good with everything else. And as we start talking about this, when we start looking at equipment, it's very nice that these other departments have 8 and 9 trucks and 7 trucks and stuff like that. But when we start looking at Weisach, we start looking at the age of Weisach. Our brush 2 is a 97. Our brush 1 is a 96. And so we welcome whatever extra money we're getting, because we've started a fundraiser. We're in the process of going through the foundation right out here out of Victoria to get a cab and chassis, and then we're going to work on the fire department, fire service to get a skid. So we're looking at $85,000. So anything extra we can get, we'd appreciate. And Weisach goes with this also.
Thank you. Andrew Weiser?
I mean, like you said, all of the extra money we can get is helpful. We were trying to come up with a solution that already had the budgeted money in there. And the amount, amount that was allocated was before anybody else was involved. We're not trying to place blame on anybody, but there's been a lot of not including everybody in this, and that's kind of where we're struggling to find a consensus. The original intention of these funds was to be for fuel, tires, and insurance costs. And if you look at Goliad's numbers, they're under $29,000. They're closer to $20,000 every single year. Their highest number was in 2013, 2014. They had close to $35,000 in those costs. So we think we're being more than fair, but if we can increase the budget for everybody to make everybody happy, that would be okay too.
Schrader?
My understanding is that if you find this other money, it's like 5,000. Is that what you're proposing, more or less?
A budget amendment of 5,000.
Budget amendment of
And then
5,000.
we're going back
So-
from 45 to 40, which is another 5,000. That's
Okay.
$10,000.
All right. So basically, that would bring each of the other 4 departments up to like 14,000 instead of the 10,500 that we got last year. Schrader's okay with that. That's still an increase in what we got before, and it'll help offset the cost of the added insurance that we carry along with our fuel costs and stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So does anyone have a motion on this subject?
I can't make the motion.
I'll make the
I
motion.
can't.
I'll make the motion to go with what Lonzo said. He goes back to 40 from 45,000, and we put 5,000 more into the farmers, into the budget for that.
Have a second on that?
I'll second it, and the money will come from uncommitted, correct?
Budget
We should throw
uncommitted?
that in the motion.
Uncommitted?
Yes, we should throw that in the motion. Okay. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain?
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. a non-paying job.
Mr. Bass had to bow out of tonight's meeting. He had another obligation that came up. Item number 4 is to consider authorize setting date January 26, 2021 for a public hearing and publication of notice of such hearing in a newspaper of general circulation on the creation of a reinvestment zone to be known as the Goliad Reinvestment Zone, SP Peregrine, for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county and to take up consideration of a tax abatement agreement with SP Peregrine Solar LLC. This is nothing more than advertising what we intend to do on the 26th of January.
This is the second solar
This
plant.
is the second solar. Everyone's ready to go.
This one's going to be out here in Blanco, or Sarco?
41, yes, sir.
Okay,
At the far south end of the county.
correct.
So this is nothing more than to say we're going to meet on the 26th and to do the advertising to let the public know about that.
It's a public hearing, correct?
Yes, sir. So I need a motion to approve that, please.
Is there a time on this? I don't see a time, I see just a date. Do we need to put a time on there?
It'll be 6 o'clock,
Okay.
6 PM, Judge?
6 p.m.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and
It's-
plan for the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is consider and take possible action to give notice to other taxing jurisdictions of tax abatement pursuant to Chapter 312 Texas Tax Code. It's nothing more than a heads up to the other entities that are involved in this to let them know what we're doing. I have an envelope that details that if you want me to read the letter. It's a basic, we're gonna do this. I'll go ahead and read it. Pursuant to Chapter 312 Texas Tax Code, this letter provides notice on January 26, 2021, on and about 6 p.m. in the District Courtroom, Goliad County, Texas, 127 North Courthouse Square. Commissioners Court of Goliad County, Texas will take up consideration of the application for tax abatement agreement with SP Peregrine Solar LLC within a geographic area as identified herein as to be known as the Goliad County Reinvestment Zone, SP Peregrine. A copy of the proposed tax abatement agreement is attached and incorporated herein by reference for all purposes. The property in the reinvestment zone subject to the tax abatement under the terms of this proposed tax abatement agreement consists of multiple sections and blocks of land and any subsequent improvements thereon located in Goliad County, Texas, as more fully described in the application and map describing the proposed reinvestment zone, SP Peregrine, as filed of record in the public records of Goliad County, Texas, and attached below. The meeting is to be held with respect to social distancing requirements, and the rest of it is
Judge,
code stuff.
those acreage or whatever, how many acres is going to be covered in those investment zones is going to be it's in the maps now currently, or
Right, I think it's a little over 3,000 acres, but
3,000 acres?
yeah, right in that neighborhood.
And that's going to go out in that letter that you just read as well, or later?
Right, well, it's filed and all the attachments are in here. This is just to let the school district,
Right.
Sarah,
Right.
and the city know that we intend to do this. The city is aware of it, the school district is aware of it, they're on board.
Correct.
So I think that this one will go much faster than the other. So if there aren't any other questions, I'd like to get a motion to approve, send that letter out to the taxing entities, and we'll move on.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Edwards put in for a budget line item transfer for the county attorney's budget.
Now, that's pretty self-explanatory. we needed to move a little money around to cover his costs for the bonds this year. They went up a little bit. That was Rob.
This is the bond for elected officials. The cost was 178. I have 175 in my budget for the bond. So I'm proposing we move $3 out of our conference and due budget. That's line item or account number 12-137-612 into our insurance and bond line item, account number 12-137-611.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Wade, approval fiscal year 2021-5311 Rural State Park Transportation Contract.
It's just the standard contract for this year's funding. The first one's the state funding, and then the second one would be the federal funding.
All right. Contract has been looked at by the county attorney and approved. Need a motion to approve this, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Wade, approval of the fiscal year 2021-5311 Federal Public Transportation Contract between Goliad Rural Transit and the Golden Crescent Regional Planning Commission for $90,724. Same as last year?
Same as last year.
Same numbers even? Or it's a little different?
We got more funding, but it's the same contract.
Any questions, gentlemen? Need a motion, please?
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Wade.
Thank you.
Item number 9, approval of bonds for elected officials, deputies, and employees. Ms. Vicki?
Enclosed are all the bonds that has been processed for all the new elected officials and their approved. Princess said if we need to increase them, if y'all want them to be increased, we can do that.
But
If we want to increase the amounts?
Of the bonds, yes.
But the current values are what, the current bonds is what's always on,
Yes.
been on them?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a need to increase it or not?
She just said it's up to y'all if you see a reason to increase them.
I don't see a reason.
Need a motion to approve that, please?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The last item, our beautiful trees on the courthouse are in need of some TLC. We put out RFPs, and we got a couple of respondents. One was out of Corpus Christi, one was out of Victoria.
That was in that attachment she sent us.
Yeah, yes, it was.
Well, I got the bid for Victoria, but what was the one out of Corpus? How much was that bid, do you?
We never
recall?
got a bid from the one out of Corpus. The guy showed up with his infant child in a stroller after 5 o'clock one evening and rolled around underneath all the trees, and he looked around and never heard another word from him.
So you went out for proposals and only two came back?
We got the Victoria, they come with recommendations, they have a whole list of recommendations. These trees, they need some help, and the cables have broken loose. One of the cables that's broken loose is hanging down in the hanging tree.
Yes.
And a lady called me one day quite disturbed about this, that there was a circular cable hanging down out of the hanging tree, and we need to do something about it.
So that's going to be replaced as well with the trimming or not?
They are trimming. I don't think that this comes, they're going to put this cable back in there, but the rest of the cables seem to be in good shape. So
We were told at one time that they should maybe remove the cables, that they don't know why they put the cables in. That was a tree company some years ago, but
Right.
we don't, there again, I'm not a tree man.
I don't know how much support those cables get. They're not tight, and maybe they keep them from having so much motion in a high wind. I don't know, and I'm certainly not an arborist. But it would be a shame to lose some of these big trees, some of the major limbs, so they need to be thinned out and cleaned up, and they'd look better. We've been blessed with having a lot of beautiful trees on the courthouse square, and we need to do what we can do to keep them going.
Judge, did we check with A&M on the tree experts up there and have them even, or
I
do
think
we?
that we did talk to Brian. We
Okay.
did not call A&M.
Okay,
Brian is aware of all this,
okay.
so
Because we need to preserve, like you say, those trees are old,
they are.
and they need to be cut correctly. If not, they're gonna die.
Well, is there any kind of historical commission control over any of this stuff?
I think all trees are historical because they're all over 100 years old, so.
Okay.
Man, I'm in a situation here that I don't know anything about it other than we try to do the right thing, go out for the
Yeah.
proper people to do the work. The work is $10,500, and that includes taking it all away.
I gotta say, we all worked together after the hurricane and got the loose limbs out of there, and we didn't ask anybody. We just did it because it was a safe thing to do, so.
So,
And nobody said anything that I know of, so.
so if y'all want to go further in another direction and do something else other than what I've done,
No.
feel free to do that, but
My only concern was that I only saw this one bid that we got it, in our packet, and you said you sent
it
out.
wasn't one guy I just called because I knew him.
Well, I understand, that was I'm just saying, that was my concern, but you
Right,
said
right.
that you.
We went
got-
out and
and got
really
those.
tried our best to do this. And
And then this guy here says plus tax, so we're not gonna pay no tax.
I saw that, and no, we're not. We're not going to pay any tax. So we may dock him because he wanted to charge us tax. Anyway,
Well, just make sure, I guess he's aware of that, I mean, if he doesn't know.
he'll be aware as soon as the bill hits the auditor's office. I'm quite sure about that. So that's what I know. What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion, we go with that contract.
Do I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any public announcements?
Just need to sign that deal so Cheyenne can get it back.
Oh, we've all signed it on this end of the table.
Well, it's been on that end of the table.
No public announcements. I need a motion to adjourn, please.
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.